No, yeah, Nanaday or Hoda Edo Yamiasi, Ewa Yanyasi, a burn and ne. But the main quan at two or a mount. She Mojadishe agree. Then I would dear mammy. I think this sums up the question I wore as stewards. A year before, or as I see so. So Yamin said, break a cry away any my person, this swing idea, nay, and not pay no. When Yami any and nim no one can, or not them tea, amen. Mamina Quaba, a bass asked worship weekend, ya strap for money as someone ne. A there radias said, not doing to me tea any more sheer moon, I assume a radia or boss through near Sassy. When they was it, no, yet, not there, Hoda. Said a kind, and then massive preaching, but say you soon dear Kakra. The title of our dear is a stewardship and systematic benevolence, principles and practices. Tabiana Brofuno Yakaka, so we go systematic, modest systematic by who the air, and a paper saying your break a card, you use a systematic idea and actually. If you are now, you be that Akra, so a Jabrofno Kaka and because I because paying for systematic by the Afri Seminar, Basa. You can't systematic benevolence any say, and see what she so any say. Answer no, Mama in see trust in your mom fire. I don't knew near you any. One hour down, Quansem, I will now see. Inti de ho hye wonsa anopei yedawase so wadum nti wodi aba wanim na de ho hye wonsa ebesua ho ade wo na wo yekyekye ni papa yesro se mayenta onase wabesua bia wasem emran nchen chen eko nkom o Yesu dim nti amen. And right, mududu a etimi joining line. I'm saying mududu send join line because that would determine how I speak this morning. Be very honest. Mom mutimi ba ebi those who are able to join. Mom sasuko surakra na menene say ya ebi. Okay, less than 50%. That's a tough thing for me now. And a person can say for the sake of ebia yen rent me amba any wa kakra na say e bo bibi so kakra na sharing so. And right, stewardship 101. What essentially we emphasize, number one, God is creator and the owner of this world. Unyankopon enyum aduonu enanchemu ba Psalm 24 verse 1, Psalm 50 verse 2 tell us say, God is the creator and the owner of this world. Asase any mu ade dudu nyina na ye hwan dia Ewurade dia. Yen ya ni pay no, we are caretakers. The onyame abo na onu no. Say ebi be di ensem a enye yen the owner, we are not the owners. We are caretakers. Yes, what for. And as caretakers no onyame are entrust the be into our hands. Or the bibia shen sase yen hweso. E dey no onyame dia shen sase yen hweso. God has entrusted each of us with life. And kwa many wo a yetia say no onyame adom na odi adom ye me na ho ase na oye na do ye hoda. God has also entrusted us with our physical being. Yenipadue na yekọ na eba any gina ho edi mu no, that is a gift God has given to us. Or he say ye hweso say ahwefo, God owns the body. Yesua bion ese God has entrusted us with time. Onyame e de mre e de aman. Nti ebre wo hoyin mu e wasase so ye tiase no, we need to understand that we are caretakers of time, stewards of time. Yesua bion say God has entrusted us with material possessions. Hunamu niema ajapade eno onyankopon e de ahye yen se fi so no and a boy sika ene gite enyina wasase so nyina, they all belong to God. You see, God has entrusted us with abilities and talents. When I say, no, you're not there. Niama hudo etimi ye kasa mi jina ha metimi kasa ya chede me media ma me bi se ma re mfi se obi wo ha mentini nchen no ontimi nkasa ada. And that is a chede onyame dia ma onyame hwehwe se me new yitimi ati ase se what they are sharing inside. We also learn, say God has entrusted us with the blessings of this earth. As I see, in Shre Womono Edi Amine, and the resources of this we are seeing. In Ria, in Sio, the mountains. And the amount about we are seeing Unyame and a boy in Ninya Media. There's a difference between Ubia or Adia one, an owner, and a caretaker, and I say steward. The idea one no or the year no epe. Nya ohwa ade so no, ohwa ade no so emma de wono. Any good steward, any good caretaker bia no would take care of what has been given to him in the light of the fact say it belongs to somebody. Enti de nka ni ba kro de be ye no eno na wo de be ye. Me na ho ase no ina do e ho da. Now nyame nyansa do mu in his infinite wisdom said the be ye re mfi say Ye caretakers. Na ye be mistake bi ye be dwen say ye owners no. Inyansa dodo mu no. God placed some restrictions on those resources, on those niyama I endow us with. Amaya kai say. Ebre anyway. Jesus say in terms of time, God has taken how much of the time? 1 out of 7. So a seventh of the time, God has taken to be his own. Or friend is saying, the Sabbath of the Lord. In fact, at the very beginning in Eden, there was also an example. But the Bible tells us, say, in the evening, every evening, God came to have time with the people that he had created. It was a constant reminder of the fact that they were stewards of time. Time did not belong to them. They did not create time. He who created time is the one who created heaven and earth. When it was it, no, besides, we also speak about life when Yankupon their mind, and in his infinite wisdom, Unyame Miyehunu say, we cannot live forever. Unyame is not bound by time. Unyame etwodada. By yendo unyame de brea man or may depend on man life. But we are not living forever and ever our this planet Earth upon Yabamu. That is a constant reminder, a tray say, this life does not belong to us. But we had people that in less than 1 year, but for one of them, I think about it, it's like a dream. Within 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, it's a constant reminder, tray and say, this life does not belong to us. This life does not belong to us. This life is a trust that God has given to us. And the good news is that when God entrusts something to us, it means say unim say yedebeye de onu Nyankopon pese yede mo me na ehwo ase na oye na do ehwo da. When it comes to the opportunities onyame dia man bebre kwa. In fact, the material possessions or the man omo edi ntro mu no. Onyame ye say tro mu hanipa nyoba nyina mo di bi. Sa na Nyankopon ka kire omo say ebia mo timi di bia na. No, there was a restriction that was placed on one tree, which was the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. I said, Papa, anybody who him dear, the bay, Mamma Nibi. A brave bia Adam, anyhow, who lions, rejoicing in God's creation. When they see that tree of the knowledge of good and evil, it reminds them, say, yes, you are enjoying the benefits of Bibio Nyankopon Diamond. You did not create any of these, so you cannot touch that. Yes, so as faithful stewards, God in his wisdom reminds us that we are not the owners of the material possessions that we have. The car that you have. It be about because of the pride of life and to be a home. Japadia who do I war, Sika who do I war, Adan who do I want, Unyame e kai and say, Yen so sono, as I say, ye yin so to do in the Maswa for this. So a tenth out of that, God claims it takes it back as his own, as a constant reminder that the possessions we have are things that God has given to us. We did not create them. It doesn't matter how much you think, say, if it is out of your toil, when people are someone and when you don't forget, say, Nyansa wo de eye adwuma na ntie ekoyi a wonya sika bebre unyame na nyansa na ema wo sika unya ya even the ability and the foresight to save and to store in times of plenty said be ahohia bremu ubetimi ya ni nyina afi onyankopon. All these are constant reminders say yamfa hwe ama wiase yamfa hwe nso mfirimuko. The Bible says ntisie yi wo de bedie ene de num a ye benum a uma enu anya de ben enos eman uma na ehwo ase na oye na do ehwo da enti ye ti ase esa eboyen in fact oni wiase kro Nyankopon boy esi ho no a we cannot even fully control wiase ni nioma ewo mu nioma yabo. How many of us can control a roaring lion. Say, how many of us can do that? How many of us in this world have the ability to cause rain to fall? How many of us have the ability in this world to make sure say enframa ebebo akobebia onu nipa kro no pe? How many of us have the ability to make sure say ewia bebo anka nya ya anka wobre ewia ba ma won hwe? How many of us can do that? Our inability to control these things are pointers to the fact that God created them all. And now we enjoy them. We are enjoying them because God has been gracious to us. Say nsaka yenyabi near the yedi ya echeso nyame ad huyemabo no adom yen. Mende hwase no ye na do hoda. Enti as stewards, let's also sum up with a few sentences. As stewards, we are responsible for the proper use of these resources. As stewards, we render faithful service to our fellow men, to God and his church. As stewards, we give all we are and all we have to God. And that to me is very, very important. Who are you? You can define yourself in several respects. You can say, I am intelligent, I am married, I am this. But I want you to describe yourself. I want to give you that opportunity. Just describe yourself. One can describe for material positions at twinchen, for near at twinchen. Describe who you are. And you would come to understand, as a steward say, you are who you are because of the grace of God. Because don't forget, the Bible says, it is in him we live and move and have our being. You might think that you're the most educated person, most intelligent person, you are the president of. It is all a gift from the Lord. And you're going to be held accountable for it. So, as stewards, we give all we are and all we have to God. Stewardship, somebody defines, is the wise and unselfish use of life. And it is also a privilege. And when you read stewardship is a privilege. Like I said, it will be a can't. But you have been to Swa, or head Nyame a year. A tre Gideon no cousin so away. You move mine or her. What if Papa be ever ha? And I say, will fear a bimu, and I say, baby. If you are not available, you're going to be absent for a while. Would you at the end of the say a ye baby manwa? Would you become more ubia or the idea by yen, your women's own doing fine? Nobody's going to do that. Would do Yamia Domoya, but you see a down Ghana. If you always in football, how this about could you discuss Koya or son of what this gun? What now this gun man so in Sudan? Now the man and Kadana and Siama. Who are Ghana and Cowbuta and so Sikanubedi? No. What Ghana, what time says Sikanubedi would be Sidan? And to the Ghana, who po be a Wahan and Kawa Ghana, now this Canabeno or Bayer Diama went to say. That is the reason why you know this Gano. So this Sidania. And the man, when you obey the man who did at the baby, the old Sidan, dear. Function inside. We share your obey in the same way, with all the resources God has created in this world. We are seeing time, body or dear mind. The reason why stewardship is a privilege, and they say, when Yankupon himself was as he swore. Then call the old body no, or the old time, or the Jabba the Mount, or the bay was as he swore, and no, and now the bay. That is why we say that stewardship is a privilege. The last part is here, and I say, it is a blessing to be a steward. Amen. A shra say a year I have for. But me so I can hold that dear. To be an owner is not an easy thing. You must do it. You be about Kruma from na ye ti obi fie. And say ya nyame adom a wuti fie no. Look at the issues that you face. Wuti obi fie na ebia se light nye adwuma. Ana say edan baby nwunu. The first thing you do is what? Just take a phone and then you call in the bakro if you run. Say I say na musuo nkan so ni be na san san na onye ho adwuma na oni abere. Bi okofas kana idea be ye enya wasem. How no wasi the dan na odi amount say tinamu. Na wo tu abosome ka nti say dan ne say ya. Sad how no eni wadwen. And then transition to the present situation how you say nyame ahira wo na edan no a ewa wo dia no enwunu. Na sika ni bank. Na adwuma nso say ya free wonsa. Which of those situations is going to be difficult? So it is a blessing at times to say, Unyame amanema nyina anya edi anke mu be no anke ewu. So we need to understand that Onyankopon hwese ebe nkunindi for no enema hodo bebre e de a mind. And as a steward, we are blessed individually. Ebwan amayesua say ye de ho beto Onyankopon so. Ebwan pese mu nkonya free en abrabom. Ebwan me hu say de besia ado. Stewardship was a blessing to others. So be a yare, though here visiting. Many a bray say at the corner home and a yard corner in Pacron Chan to man register in Chi, if you know, I instra Eddie Aman. Ubinisika, now you be the manua, which me at the talk, yes, or the talk, the one, Ubinia tidy, and on your be the Shenwa, or now at the Jawanikate view. That is also a blessing to others. And then stewardship becomes a blessing to the church of God. When they was it, no, in other yeah, always seek a 7 year brain when you die, Giahono, and then I'll go on your coupon suffer itim. And then we'll go. I want us to go over to another part of our study now and pay so as a systematic benevolence. But say about the two words. Because it be a systematica anything. And because it be you can't benevolence anything. It doesn't mean India. More much some being with them home and maybe some when you're ready. But systematic in India. I see anything. Because it be a systematica. The idea is systematic. I see anything. It is so. Wow. Say this here, right? Science. Because it be I did this one. Yes, I said. And she say be your home. Now she share no cover. This is what you say. What do tide a bra wanya a year? When you sika, when you inshira, what the bra wanya na? Na baby out the bar. You are doing systematic. You are giving systematically. You are being systematic benevolence. But you can't benevolence. I say. Benevolence. Hey, I'm just having people with them. Benevolence. Who would help us? Say, I say, yeah, do ye. You were here for your mom, Nisika, your mom, your mom, Yanka, your mom, your Ghana for. So, who mobile now, you know, now got torn idea because you're mono at the Brahma Sika can one. You are being benevolent. Says, I say, what can't assemble, baby. Macra, won't a who Yankopon, not telling can, no one so doing Yankopon here. You are being benevolent. The one we are talking about systematic benevolence, and he said, share at the ama, and the time you are being benevolent, no, it calls for sacrifice. A here for a book, a here who petri, a here near Mahudu be. I just want us to look at the origins and the meaning of those keywords. And then you better also now for you who said, Simon benevolence, say, no, how is that working for us? And then maybe I'm busy a shannon so sabre enough yet me is so kakra. Na etimi aboayen maybe that when for suffer one share more inviting ase no. In fact, this is how systematic benevolence is. There are two definitions of systematic benevolence. The first one is say it is a practice. What kind of practice? It is the practice of making regular contributions to the church in accordance with a predetermined plan. Systematic benevolence means a practice of making not irregular, but making regular contributions to the church, not to an individual, to the church. How? In accordance with a plan. And that plan is predetermined before the contribution is made. That's a change. No. But I found something that's very, very interesting when I studied this in the past, and then this week I tried to look at it. There are two meanings to this. There's a specific meaning of the term systematic benevolence. Oma and share down, and I say adoya and share down, and I say yemia share down. It applies to the method of financing denominational work until the late 1870s, when almost 30 said almost a year tithe and offering one semi-eba. And nearby, and I say, Ebra, a giddy for if it's your sumna say or Hano. Woman who said, gifts, and I say, I check your normally bar so moon. One, not those gifts were irregular. Any do so. And there'll be the bar, be able to see you and Abu Simmons now the Biaba. And then the other one said, the gift was not proportional to Nibakronin Shawanya, but it was proportional to the person's generosity. What it means, you say, when a minute or so for an hour or 5,000 or no 2,000 or so for the 1,000, but if you say Yamuye, maybe the 500, but if you say me Yamunye, into the gift of Yadi Bano, and you're proportional, and you're irregular. But it wasn't proportional, but it was based on, say, the Yamuye or Guinea-Pahuntin or Deba. Or no, Yamuya or Guinea-Pahun or Guinea-Pahun Cassi into on 25 years or Deba Emma. It was all even based on the income. What happened? They said, Sabreno, it got to a point where the ministers had to work full time. We are saying, yeah, Monday through a Friday. Now, Saturday, no, what me about, sorry, it got to a point where some of the churches, history tells us, said, I saw you be a honoma, not so for more than one church, and those days it was like that. I saw you be a 2 months, and so on and so forth. If we say, I saw no was not able to support a young couple of Juma until passing, and those are the days when Nippon and Bebrain contribute on resources in Yan to the Brabin Afena, or more, yeah, kind lack of proportionality, or one or more, sa a chedia some person in Yaman. If you don't tell me for Tommy, even regardless of that, no, it got to a point where funding God's work was very, very difficult. In 1859, the church in Battle Creek, HCM, no. After Bible discussion, there are two very important principles. And it was based on the Bible. And the principle they kind of say, giving must be regular. And two, giving must be proportional to Nyankopon ensure their money back. And they were convinced by Bible in church. What I find interesting is say, based on that, no, almost your proposal has been anybody or 1860 years. This part is also very interesting to me. For Mema, there was a range. They were supposed to contribute 5 to 20 cents. 1859, that's what I'm making. And Mardia, they were supposed to contribute 2 to 10 cents. Because a Mardia, if we said, it's only recently, and then Mark will be crying, Juma. Even a necra. It will surprise you to know, say, a Juma, maybe ye. Any a Juma, a chrono buy in several places, maybe pay a best one, and the reason why I'm paying switch and say, Sabio by intra. It's still happening even in this day and age. So at that time, I'm not managing your municipal, but I just want us to note the important thing in the said. It wasn't a fixed amount of money. If you remember Mukrano, there was that range, 5 to 20 cents. Emma, there was a range, 2 to 10 cents, which means almost the same, almost honey, but as to whether with the 8 and 9 and 7, it depends on what Juma, what hoarding in showing Yankopon Eddie amount when there was no ye, that is why when we talk about systematic benevolence, you don't insist on a fixed amount of money for everyone. It doesn't work that way. So, honey, you trust can be ma will say, Ebia Emily, and I say, Joutu. Afibia, so 5,000. Said a bit, sorry, and so 3,000. We are practicing systematic benevolence in this church. Many of us, in other order. As a sort man, proportional to insure. And then the other part of America will say, what properties, what Japanese are dying. Every $100 value of that building, you are going to contribute 1 to 5 cents. That is also a range of the property value. After that, then I will say June 1859, General Conference session, they modified this plan. Original Battle Creek Forum say a mema 5 to 20 cents. Then about General Conference session, they said 2 to 25 cents. 5 to say 20. 2 to say 25 cents. And we didn't know wider. You better 5 to 20, 2 to 25 cents. Just someone who say a bit more higher because 5 and go be an worship because a could be asking for an and a bit more 20 the crown, baby on between yabros, and so they gave that range to 25. And a man no dear, you just reduce it by 1 cent. Originally it was 2 to 10 cents. He said 1 to 10 cents. It was so quiet. After after studying in early 1863, they also came to the conclusion. So, okay, 10% should be the minimum contribution. They were studying. It got to that point, they said, okay, it doesn't matter. It has to be 10%. Because Bible trends, I could refer to tithe. Let me go to 27:30. If it is 10%, then somebody debit to be $1. Will be the 10%, no, it be about 1 cent. And then they moved on in that direction. And the interesting thing, then they said one day even adopted that. They said, Obia, the 10% the non fan to honum. Now, every quarter, what is kind of Abbey Yankupon Juma? I want to see the university. And see Brisica and say the university. And the best 6 months, Granum realized, no, I didn't have the howba. If we say, Nipano Enya, 10% no 2 honor, what I know, what in Sabum. The finish can emerge. And then it was refined after I saw Baba Kwanchemu. Almost said, no. The moment you receive that income, that is when you have to return 10% to the Lord. When there was it, no, you know, what is the Bible can say? Your first fruits belong to God. Would you see car? And yes, I will cut you tight. Okay, will light bill. Okay, maybe what you could do. Now we are what you are meeting the money. See, that is the first thing that you do. Anyone, and I mean anyone sitting here, whose first thought in saying Yesika, and they say, you are practicing systematic benevolence. If you're not doing it, you're not practicing it. So you're doing the okay, then you get to the point where you realize, in fact, some of you can tell your experiences. You can walk in crowd and say at the castle. But Unyame and a Ishra no man Yamahudo Bibliocom. Indeed, I'm recommending eventually, they looked at the tithe. The second general, after that, tithe, no more bad tithe, so and now I'm afraid to kind of tithe. And a trade the Abbasis in 1850s, no more a man is see. And when we talk about systematic benevolence, I have given the historical account. Specifically, that's what it is. But after 1850, all the processes that I saw in the Famu, now, said, yɛbɛtumi asopɔto enyankan ne nwisia sɛ be ya yɛbɛtumi aboa asɔre a ɛwɔ mu no adwumayɛ sɛ be ya yɛbɛtumi aboa asɔre ku a ɛwɔ mu no adwumayɛ sɛ be ya yɛbɛtumi ayɛ asɔredan ho nneɛma ahodoɔ sɛ be ya the most important thing yɛbɛtumi de apaw nyame asɛm mu aka no. All of that is part of systematic benevolence. It means what tied envelope ben wa. If you say offer odie. Na sana odi sika no e be envelope no bo say it means you do no say hwa. Like the left hand side no. Omo e ye nhihye wo ho no. The principle no say be say abu afoforo a we should always look beyond the here and now. So nyame e ye wadom na obesa wo ya adoye a. The mistake you and I would make is to focus your adoye no e dem hangwa. Let me give you an example. You mudu saying, and now what you say, me watch me out, over comfortable so $5. Why, Pujaniza? That's it. Okay. You mudu saying, and now, sir, $5 no. What you go Ghana, won't through now on ferry home. I don't more officially Ghana is because it's Diana. Who multiply $5, everything ama ubi, and then you didn't ma edit hard than and I'm a boy. So the point in the say, the value of $5 no. So consider what them hand you are making a terrible mistake. So what do you what the $5 in bed no? And what do you the $50 bed no? So what you say hand you are going to make a terrible mistake. So when you are talking about systematically doing things like that on a regular basis, you don't look at local area. That is the reason why I tell you 13 Sabbath. Baby. In fact, say a minimum years I am telling you, say we would not have afforded this building. So Kai say conference no edisika ebi free baby na beboa. This kind of thing. If you say a minimum adwene tra a down mutimu, a minimum who so much tom dan wie. But who say as some bu afoforo bi emma omo so etumi baby on betumi asom. That is part of systematic benevolence. O man share da ho ebi no. And in our present giving no ebi awie mpanyimfo be kan wasem kakra. You can see someone here no or chain kwan a yede tithe ni offering eba so mo na be nyame adwuma. Tithe 10%. And then I can look at church budget. And when we talk about systematic benevolence, what is also important, and I say, involving planning. I say the practice of making regular contributions to the church in accordance with a predetermined plan. That is the reason why I saw him welfare for ministry, music ministry, worship, youth, ubia the plan eba. And the plan is said, yeah, no one able to mean plan. I tell you, one plan no here adaje, yambre. Plan no here nipa nim dear. Plan no here nipa hoarding. If I anti be no year, you know what you may know. The movie or one might be able to contribute to his cat. Who are said beyond this game, but what they know adaje and you man or ba ebeboa. Until when we come together as a church and we plan on what we're going to do and support that plan, be as a same. Which means a budgeter. We put our resources together to make sure, say, we bring the plan to fruition. When they say, no, you're not there. Anytime we do that together in unity, we are also taking part in systematic benevolence. Oh man, she said that. What's the shed one who said, Sikadia, we need be kase. And so the idea they are what in the hour, and to be using to mean called drone. What they were holding. Any wadaje emma eburusa said the bell nyame adwuma be konkan. And so local church no woni mahodo bebre to support the ministries, the facilities and supplies of your local church. That is why sikabasrum. Yes ani mahodo nyina. E yadoye ministries ni bi e wasoro mu e bi anything. How na betim boy? Ministries wasoro mu e bi anything. E bi anything. Personal ministries okay that was na dem bi. and then women ministries, and they been build men ministries, and they been build welfare, and then means will be a review with us. We say, when you want to be and we are so sky, and so now one day, as far as Pennsylvania, and Yamaha to be brave, so at two in China, and also a BBS say, it's me a year, a man a year. All these are important. Then they look at the conference and then the world church budget and so support to the gospel ministry. All these plans are my year, share my year, a boy, Emma, a sorry, you may be conking. Then I want to quickly bring up another issue. It's a term that is called loose offering. The boss, sorry, moi. Yes, sorry, moon. You're high, and as it can be yara, what the two offering plate. Now, one chair baby as you can incorporate, it's a loose offering. And what the conference tells us, well, associations, and when that money is a loose offering now. In fact, this year, of the 52 weeks, 28 of those weeks, it can be a loose offering, you bet me for the idea. But any sikabia one chair baby uncle, ancient one chode young moon. For that particular day, so what you say, Sasikana Eba Soma, if the calendar says, Sasikana Uncle Chesapeake, Uncle Ghana, Uncle Babia, that is where the money is going. That is why it is important. Say, when we're talking about loose offering, this is what this is. It gets to the point where Omu decided, and they have a calendar for it the whole year. Now we have it here already. More or less every other week, it be an bako a transfer room, bako echo baby from much baby echo. It be a religious liberty, be an neighborhood of bring. The other one, and I said, weeks are Bosumia, 5 weeks, 3 of them be a classroom, 2 echo baby. So it is important. So you have a tears, yes, sorry, a support and Yamia Juma or ha. We need to be deliberate. We need to indicate it. That is why this envelope has a place for where you want to distribute that. If you don't do it and you put it in the plate, now you say, yeah, uncle. This is a ba, ya kase. Ya gentle baby, Eddie Akoya Diapoti. I know the name, but you're Bassi Basuma. But so the loose offerings normally, ain't designed for church members. It is designed for be and conform best trying. Because the principle said, Washington, and maybe a point, sorry, because you maybe was from Philadelphia. Okay. But sorry, my chum tied the Abadiako. But me caught a while. Be a my meaning say, and yes, I made this a panko ready and in may say, if I'm the offering, but I'm there to play. Whatever they are supposed to do that day, schedule that year that day, and that is where the money is going. As I say, you don't have to have the situation where your money is determined as a loose offering. Because if it's determined as a loose offering, I don't think we should lie as a church. I don't think we should be deceitful. I don't think we should be unfaithful. Now, Sebia, and there I have loose offering $20. The next week, loose offering $500. Yeah, we can do that. It has to go where it has to go. That also is very important for us to know. Now, bro, we have systematic benevolence. Then it got to a point where we have to look at your Bible. What are some of the principles that are involved in this? And that is where I want us to quickly go to 1 Corinthians 16, 1 and 2, and look at 5 important principles. 1 Corinthians 16, 1 and 2. So be a beginner of a sort of kind of manner, you can go ahead and do that. But maybe what I 1 Corinthians 61 and 2. Also now concerning the collection for the saints, as I have given orders to the churches of Galatia, so you must do also. On the first day of the week, let each one of you lay something aside, storing up as he may prosper, that there be no collections when I come. Amen. It's a very simple principle. The principle is and say, or say the first day of what? Every week. Now what should be that what can you learn out of that? One, there was some consistency. There was that regularity. So the first principle is say, when we are given systematically, there is the issue of constance. It has to be constant. It has to be regular. The reason why I can't now, okay, can tell me this test before you say Sabbath day. No, it has nothing to do with it. If you read even that text in Quran, it's just against it. Or say, Monye first day of the week, every first day of the week. Now me bar. It was obvious that he wasn't coming that same day. And I'm a bar. The didn't know the first day of the week and I'm a bar. It's the first day of the week now. I'm going to buy. I didn't know because of bar. Any time I'm a bar, I buy a collection. So when you say first day of the week, it presupposes that the Abba is on the first day of the week. It defeats the argument. I say Sunday worship. That's not. This is not about Sunday worship. The only thing is said that day, in those days, it was a day. Now it's a business days. Yeah, 10 class pen. Be a mother moon 10 class pen. Yeah, 10 class pen. Crying about hormone, salt, and as I'm chinning. And now I hold on be new krumo. You could or Debbie. Now, sir, baby, you could jano. Okoyan chin and sound their back 190 by 4 5 miles. As one near my dear ban. First, Utu banch in a body and out and out their coracoton. Now, in your beer. Now, Monsieur Cancer, Dow about Colonial Anto, and over Baunyan out their buffet. Siamosiga. That is the life that it was in those days. Indeed, that particular day be a Jordan here Monday or Tuesday. This is how this was. On the Sunday, that day was a good day for them to make sure so much set is aside. So the first one is about regularity. The point said the decision to give to God was not to be made at the last minute. That is what systematic believing is about. That first principle, apart from regularity. As the collection is being made, say, Caitlin, ever can't hear so much and pay half an hour to herself. That is not systematic giving. You have to plan at home. And found so yakara. And a biana some kind annual day. And found so new to born you and be roof who because you get to where you that is not how it is. Systematic benevolence means sit at home regularly. The first point is also every day of the week. It's something that you have to consider at home and set aside according to the dictates of your heart. And then he says that now concerning I have given an order to the churches on the first day of the week, let each one of you. Anybody was saying? Obia. So it has to be participatory. As a se obiara involved in it. And I think this is where we have a big problem in this church. I'm telling you this because I don't know how it has panned out. But for us to realize, say, a church with membership or whatever, I be more than 150 a year, Juma. For us to realize, say, the annual harvest that we had in the church, end of year harvest we had in the church, we didn't even bring in 20,000. And some of us did not participate. And some of us participated, but we didn't participate faithfully. But it is between us and our God, and we have to decide whether we are the owners of the resources God has given to us, or we indeed accept that we are stewards. And therefore, we use that to glorify Nyankopon. Nyankopon for informs on chain. Until Otwaso, I can't say. So it means that when we're doing systematic benevolence, total involvement is very important. Everybody should have the opportunity to participate. Everyone should have that opportunity. It is up to you to choose to participate or not to participate, but the opportunity should be there for everyone to participate. No. You make the opportunity available to everyone, and depending on the person decides at home, prays over it, And based on the blessing of the amount or the abba. So it says everyone decides at home and then set some money there aside. What does it mean to set something aside? More pension fund. Have you set some money aside? Yes, you have. For a specific purpose. So pensions you cannot we don't feel setting aside what shall I say? Now this is say you do time about pensioner. So you set it aside. We used to it is set apart. Set a so you make the decision at home that this is for the Lord, set aside for a particular purpose. That's principle number 3. The fourth principle, say, set it aside, and then says, turn up as he may prosper. Said on Yankubai the bay, a shrawo now setting aside. And it is proportional. It depends on blessing Yankupon the amount. It depends on pay a wunya. It depends on Yamahudwa wunya. And no, and this is a way, Etimia Bua, Amanema, Etimi Ako. Amanema do Etimi Akon kind. So the other principle, and say, it is not a fixed amount, it is proportional giving. The systematic Bible answer, you try to move here. Safia Euro, will be until 5,000, will be until 2,000. They be the soon or bass or crown, or you could be just because Nisika and all manner just say, yeah, everybody say, Emily, 1 for the amber, we 1 for the amber, we 1 for the amber. I mean, just say, what is all of this? We don't do it here because we practice systematic benevolence. The giving should be proportional to ensure the amount. And the last point is very, very important. Or say, but what kind of you? Or say that there be no collections when I come. When you say Paul Bar, they have no obey. Bahona didn't know about Sabbath, not didn't obey. Obey them. Obey Jacko, Yamada said, they didn't be until buy. Obey them. Obey bunch, obey preaching. So the principle, say, look, your boss say, young upon someone, I say, between young upon someone. The time that we spend in trying to raise funds, proportionally, should not be over and above time by this many say between young upon. That is the reason why you have to decide at home what you're going to give. To be about say about for the Yakobi on your chairman. No, brand new, a ma, a cranium free a che, at the number, that number snack on your said, won't you translate? I mean, what is all of this? What is this for? Yamanko Bonyum, so be able to say, hey, you have 5,000, and he's true to his word. I'm telling you, when we were very young, paying our chin, I am telling you, say 2 o'clock. Sika walk in Zankaya, Monkoi. No. That is not systematic benevolence. Honey, the Odeba Ufi, Humpaye, Yankupon Shaw. Many of us in another order. The Rona Paul can say, look, I am telling you something that's very important. This is what the church in Macedonia did. Okay? So what you hear will say, you're human. Yes. I'm not going to argue with you on that. But the Bible gives us another example. Was the people in Macedonia, they were in a similar situation. And that is where the second one, of course. Moreover, brethren, we make known to you the grace of God bestowed on the churches in Macedonia. Churches of Macedonia. Why was the grace of God bestowed on them? Because in a great trial of affliction, the abundance of their joy and their deep poverty abounded in the riches of their liberality. For I bear witness, that according to their ability, Ye non ko betimi yaye. Yea, and beyond their ability. When they was in other hoda. What they non ko betimi yaye. Hwe, e yam pack nye bia ne ho. Omo mama ne bro mo hoden so. They were freely willing, imploring us. But to the sense say, no almost saying say, they imploring us with much urgency. There's a difference between that. You say, "Be your da." I tell you, a hon man. A man teach you Ghana, no tired, sir. Okonoman scano. Also, Brahman, money and co. No, no, we are not for JJ and Waji. And my madam for become story be changed. It was very, very sad. We knew our hand more 10 US. I checked for a long time. No bag and I said, Sister Joe, so Brown and Kohara, this kind of shame, Butum. I feel who's on kind of kind of man. That was not even almost spirit. So, was all the man on Caswanian, they must say, they were urging us. Sister Joe, Sister Joe, that is what they were doing. And getting to the end, imploring us with much urgency that we would receive the gift and the fellowship of the ministry to the saints. And not only as we had hoped. Yesterday, I need that one. Why? Because they first gave themselves to the Lord and then to us by the will of God. So what am I trying to say here? And then I'm trying to say, for us as stewards, we need to give ourselves to God. That is the first thing that is important for us as stewards. Anything short of that, I am telling you, because of other reasons. You might go and visit Obi a Hiano. You might go and visit Obi or die. The reason why I will call and say, Mamma so for any auntie continue. That's the only reason. Because yourself was in your the only reason is for continue could be when you're shabby and free. But all the home Yankopon. Say Nipa and Qua Ubako, when I was no another hoda. I want you to spend time and go and read the parable of the more 10 talent, or more talents. No? Matthew 25, 14 to 30. But that's the last thing I want us to think about as we bring this study to a close. There's so many interesting things in that parable. And I want to quickly read it in key. Matthew and young continuous in church. Matthew 25, verses 14 through 30. So we establish some principles in additional baby. Okay, so he was some. Was in it to say, Unipe be a O2 quine ako baby. No from one in qua. Chanusun. Or one in the bay, Ninqua. Nor did you or walk a share one, sir. There are the share one, sir. You're no or run a bay, a walk, a run idia. Or the share one, sir. I know my back talent to them. No bakun yenu, and no bakun so bakun. Said you won't be a more than the bay, a tear. No two kind. Nantamara dear, Onya talent in Numuno Equi, the Koye a Juma, now Onya whole talent in Num. Dunsun. Sarah de Onya Muno ans a conya muno account. Now the Onya bakono dear. O coco funu from. Or the Nura and no sikan and no SCA. My sikan or this year, Nura. Musican SCA. Now a cherry, no. Chenon so. And Quano Eurano ebai. No only one ever woo a contact, so Shannon so. I do know. Now the Onya talent in Numuno buy. The talent in Num can home by say, Ura. Talent in Num now they share means, sir. My talent for fro in Num account. Urano essay no say. Mo aquapa and in the coffee. Where did I cray who no cray? It was in your ma pee so for Ura and Jim. I didn't mean no. Now the only talent to know you know by say Ura. Talent you know what they share me, sir. She. When you're talent from you know Macahon. You are not saying, say, oh, Aquapa and no coffee. Where did I cry you home no quarry? You do be seen your pee so. Who any Jim? I do nine. Ronya talent by Cono Eba. And so Eba say, Ura. You say. How would they? What if I come with the eye? Now, Ubobo are not far quan. Won't find petty. Intimacy Roy. Number talent, no. You could see from. Your idea near. And I knew I no go say no say. Aqua bonny in half four. Aqua bonny in half four. When you say me for I mean, yeah. I'm a wobble no for I mean for empathy. When him, sir. So, no, Miss Adia. And ye, anchor, SSA would be Missy Cano a cautious Sicassa for answer. I'm a bar. About Jim, my dear, any who in see home. I do know what you know. Was inti Munye nin some talent, you know. Among Foncoma near or what talent? Say, if it let me uncle some from the water talent in no. One for come the water talent is there, no, Uncle 5. Son of Chiba English Bible no can you Bible. What's more command the word a do no woman a noon here. At this time, our old Contano or do or some from 10 or 10 grand. Moon for back on Gocano. Now, Obia or Wono Obamano Amanonia Abroso. Now, the only be no dear or one po, but Jeffrey in some. Now, qua no any for sono. Monfanon koto no entwene a chiri sum no mu. Eho and osum any secure ewo. Erosem bebre. Nyanum. Anapa mbese dey addition by we. So many principles I see in this lesson, and I want to spend time and study because me nya brain kan nyina ho asem. First principle is that as stewards we need to be faithful. It's a say in Ukrafo. 1 Corinthians 4:2 cancer. As stewards, we need to be loyal. I was going to random you. Any mamma, money. So as stewards, we need to be loyal. The one with the 5, the one with the 2, they were loyal to their master. Then the master and they wanted to do it. So they did that. As stewards, we need to be obedient. So obedience is important. In fact, loyalty is so important. I don't want to become one of them. So, yeah, was the intimate random money. And in 1 Corinthians, in 1 John 2:15-17, so you break kind of chain. See, no one can serve two masters. I say, do not love the world. And now we are saying, and now we are saying, if anyone loves the world, the love of the Father is not in him. So we are saying, a journey don't need a bay in minimum. For all that is in the world, what we are seeing now, it talks about 3 very important things. I tell you, I can synthesize this. We are seeing now based on those 3, and I agree with him. What's the what we are seeing now? Can't now. We are seeing now. Then there's a dash over there. He lists 3 things and puts another dash over there, which means that You are seeing or summarizing those three things. Was it the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life? I want you to spend time and think about it. And find out your unfaithfulness towards your wife, towards your husband, your unfaithfulness with Kasem, your unfaithfulness all time, your unfaithfulness. I'm telling you, you can put them, each of them, or all of them, under any of these three categories, or all of these three categories. The lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, the one who say, Obi, I could sit down with Ghana and T. Who per se wants to see a dine maybe. The lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life. Oh, burger for baby, I want to see your dino. I hope now person see you dying. You're not being faithful to your Lord. That's how they go on school. You're not even doing it. You don't even care. What you are supporting the crown? Okay, so we are going to also go to loan. So there's so much Abafrano dealing with. And so the third principle is that loyalty is important. The fourth one I want to talk about briefly is obedience. Some of them wanted to be obedient. And because of that, they know around here's I think about last week and the previous week, I can say love starts in the mind. But I also believe that obedience also starts in the mind. Yes. Because obedience is started from a relationship with Ubia or a superior to you. And for us as Christians, supreme being is God. That's why we want to be obedient to him. And the reason why we're going to be obedient to him is because we have a relationship to God. And therefore, obedience, is the second one, I said, from this lesson I see, said, as a steward, you need to be trustworthy. Say the identities I don't want to say you need to be selfless. And the last point for me here is the issue of accountability. We don't want to be accountable. We don't. Who's that? Who does more kind? 5 they are 2 they are also one no kwaya ode na bia ka wonya wan kan ho a. I say no. Man fan kwaya. The reason why man fan kwaya no is not me. Yenti man kwaya no eye wo. Free set. Wo in for bone for. Baby a wontwa no na so wonya. The same person na 2 need in there kwaya. The same person na 5 in there kwaya. But the reason why or no one for one kwaya dia oye no, the problem was not with him. For him, he is not accountable. The problem no say, wow, they are the man no we in for bone for. Wunye utiri modern, we ntina ade no man fa anya adwuma. Don't we do that? Don't we say that all the time? We do. But the good thing say as a TSA stewards and say, whether we like or not, God expects us to be accountable. Yes. Have you forgotten the Bible text that says that one Samson and that we're going to be accountable for every idle word that we say? Have you forgotten what the Bible says? To whom much is given, much is expected. So nyamema bebre a ohwe bebre afiri ho. Nyama kakra bi ohwe kakra bi afiri ho no. Nti nyanam awie efi na pa ba awie mu no. Say that this one esi ha no. We need to seek God first as stewards. As stewards, our lives should be lived in such a way that we are looking forward to and hastening the second coming of Christ. That is what God expects of us as stewards. We need to have that mindset. We need to look for that. We need to use our time wisely as stewards. That guy who had one was very foolish. He didn't use his time wisely at all. And I'm not surprised in saying, Papa Nabaya, no, where miss another opportunity to use it because he would not have been granted him because that time was past. That's why the Bible tells us. I believe in Ephesians 5. Yeah, Ephesians 5. Verse 15 or 16 or both of them will see. We should be redeeming our time. Look, I don't know whether you've seen it before. But the fact of life is this. You can stop the clock. You can never stop time from running. Okay. I'm sorry, number 5. I call Juma. You do Juma 7. Now above 5 o'clock, no me o'clock. Yes, I can stop it. But I'm telling you, the time continues to run and I'll be late to work at 7. What time is important? Time will never wait for you. My brother, my sister, time will never wait for you. See, it will keep moving forward. And for us as stewards, because time is so important and we keep on running, we need to focus on what is important in the here and now and also in the future. And yes, sir, we need to have a healthy mind, a healthy soul, and a healthy body. So God expects us to worship him with our heart and with our mind, with our bodies. God expects us to plan. God expects us to be loyal to him. God expects us to remember, say, he is the creator. And and out of love, no, or the ashayansa, said the beya, you between Edia or Nunyankopon Ebeshe. I want to read for you lastly something that I found interesting, so I put it down this morning in the book Testimonies, Volume 9. The principles of stewardship. A steward identifies himself with his master. He accepts the responsibilities of a steward. And he must act in his master's stead, doing as his master would do were he presiding. Now, Uji Oshofuji say Asudi. Now, Ubeye Nyankaura no adi odi ashan sano obeye said Nkaura ndi adi nbeye. His master's interests become his. Your master ni jehun so beja crowd. That becomes your interest also as a steward. The position of a steward is one of dignity. So you may throw so your poor and you may show. Because his master trusts him. If he's any run if in any wise he acts selfishly, so Musion Kano, not of your forno, a person and turns the advantages gained by trading with his Lord's goods to his own advantage, he has perverted the trust reposed in him. So Musion Kain, now Reshimo Yami way moon, said the Bay and Yami Juma, the Yabi Ankasa Babuaya. Or say Reshimo Yankopon way moon, Naya Shri. So Yami some way. When you can't tweet and say, the men come out. Then I would mammy. And you see a two Eddie Baby, 330. Right, this is my baby, and on the pay. So think about the words of that song prayerfully. Na enya kwan etu ye ho hye onyankopon ensa. 3:30 no say, take my life and let it be consecrated, Lord, to thee. Take my hands and let them move at the impulse of your love. Take my feet and let them be swift and beautiful for thee. Take my voice and let me sing always only for my King. Take my lips and let those lips be filled with messages from you. Take my silver and my gold, not a mite would I withhold. Take my will and make it thine. My will shall no longer be mine. Take my heart. It is your own. And it shall be your royal throne. Take my love, my Lord. I pour at your feet the treasure store of my heart. Take myself, O Lord, and I will be ever only all for thee. Oma yemfa empabo kwan so emmo empaye ebraye to saa nwumi. Enti ohun hye onyankopon sa. Let's see a chance of church pastor now here for prayer. And mine. Yemududua, for some reason, you say you're faithful as stewards to God. I just want to invite you to come forward as we ask the pastor to pray for us. If you never show a brabo mu, one who say, but today you have determined, say, I donate to me. Open sale, we are a faithful steward. Open sale, we are a loyal steward. Open sale, we are a trustworthy steward. I want to invite you as you come, as we bring the service to a close. That's also for what to Edward Show Yankopon answer. I want to give you that opportunity and then every for those who have decided, say, Lord, I want to be faithful. I want you to take my life and let it be consecrated to you. I want to dedicate my life to you. And me say, me de me ho show to me asie. And unti famem for cry. I want to invite you to come forward as we pray.
Oh my mom pie. Ye Yankopon near bankers here. And I no pay Wama Yehu. So any asase, any emunia menina a yawotia.